From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, 10 straight touchdown drives and a 77-3 win. What is going on in Tallahassee? After 2 weeks, is this team better than 2 years ago? And are we seeing culture and head coaching moxie in this winning mix? Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it, take it, everybody. But before you do that, make sure you buy one and get one free. Take advantage of the warchantbogo promo code. Again, buy one, you get two. Buy four, you get eight. If you buy 77, what was the math on it, Corey?
154, buddy.
My
154.
Goodness. Yep. My goodness. VitaminEnergy.com, synergistically formulated to give you all the energy you need to get through your day and to also enhance things like your focus and your mood, all with just vitamins and energy. Caffeine, the energy source. No sugar crash. Still tastes great somehow. Give it a try. Warchant BOGO, the promo code. Buy one, get one free. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. We're still giving things away for $1 for a week. Come aboard. Also, enjoy 1 year subscription to The Athletic when you join us for $1 over at warchant.com and the On3 network. Corey Clark in the house. Good to hear from your voice. It feels like I haven't seen you forever, but it's only been like a day and a half.
Right.
How was the rest of your weekend after that romp in Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday afternoon, buddy?
It was great. Things got a little loose Saturday night. Well, not for me, honestly. For the people I was with, had a really good time, it seemed like. And then, Sunday, watched the Falcons lose in a typical Falcons way. Just what happens. And, now I'm doing the show. Got to hear from Gus and Tony White. So, all in all, a good weekend, buddy.
Now we'll get to maybe the second part of the program. But you joked about it with Ira. What's going on, Corey? 77-3 win, and I know it's an FCS opponent. I think you pointed out that did they outgain SMU last week, the Lions?
By like 30 or 40 yards, I think, or either they were outgained by 30 or 40 yards, but it wasn't much. It was like 390 to 350. Like it was a competitive game statistically.
So that was like 42-13, the final score, I think. Yeah. SMU lost to Baylor in overtime, by the way. I think Dave Aranda might give you guys some good content, I would think.
Yeah, man, I can't wait.
What we like to call coach speak. I'm trying to pull up the stats just to double check here. Team stats, that's where we'd want to go to. Total yards? Yeah, SMU only outgained them by 49 yards.
Yeah.
That audio is playing. I didn't want that to play. But anyways, let me get back to my train of thought here, Corey. So 10 consecutive touchdown drives to open the game for Florida State. Just absolutely dominating an opponent that you should if you are an excellent team, which I just can't wrap my head around the fact that they look this good. It's incredible. It's amazing. I'm excited for it, Corey. And I asked you this after the game. I'm like, if you're having an argument with somebody and they were saying that the 2025 team was better through 2 weeks, through 2 games than the 2023 team was, who wins the argument? And you took it almost a step further. I think you've been a little joking, but just this is incredible, man. I don't know if it's not even so much because we didn't see this coming, which none of us saw this coming, but the sheer dominance. And Alabama had a good game this past Saturday, so maybe they're not bums after all. This is remarkable, man. I cannot wrap my head around it. Have you figured out 48 hours afterwards what is actually going on, why they are so excellent?
No, I haven't. And look, we get the qualifiers. We get the context that it's 2 games, and this last one was against a very, very bad football team. But we've seen good Florida State teams play really bad football teams and be sluggish and sloppy and kind of not take it all that seriously. Again, I brought it up on the Warchant wrap. It's why the North Alabama game. It's why the Jordan Travis injury happened. Quite frankly. They came out so lackluster, so uninspired, and they found themselves down by 2 scores in the first quarter against a bad FCS team, and your star quarterback feels like he has to go make something happen. Well, that didn't happen at all this Saturday. I mean, it was just utter domination from start to finish. And look, man, we know they have better players. They have better coaches. It's a better program by leaps and bounds. I get all that. But it's the way they played. It's the way they look. that matters to me. It's Earl Little flying all over the field as if he is still playing Alabama. It's Darrell Jackson playing as if he's still playing Alabama. It's the execution on offense, like caring enough to execute like that, man. Playing a clean game like that. It's such a good sign. We know you should play hard on a Saturday. We get it. You want to go score points and people are watching. But it's such a good sign about the preparation from Sunday to Friday that they took it seriously enough that was the result. And I brought it up to Tony White on Sunday. We were talking to him. Obviously, Earl had the interception on kind of the jump ball in the middle of the field where he read that one well too. But I was asking him about the play that Earl Little almost had the pick six the possession before, where he broke on it really well and really fast, and it just kind of went through his arms as he was diving, falling for it. But it was a great break on the ball. And I asked Tony White about that, and he's like, yeah, that's the film study. And he goes, that's the black ops, which is what they call their scout team guys, everyone, because they wear black jerseys. And it's repping it over and over and over again, those looks. And he said the same thing happened on the interception. We had shown him that look and that play so many different times that he recognized it, went back and went and made a play. And I'm using Earl Little as an example, but it wasn't like he was the only one that was dialed in. And that was just really good to see, man. It was really well executed against a bad football team, but they could have gone through the motions and won by 40. But they didn't go through the motions, and they were up 49-0 at halftime and won by 70. So, again, a good sign.
What was most impressive then, Corey? Was it the 10 consecutive touchdown drives, the way they looked, just Tommy dropping absolute dimes? You want to talk about the throw to Squirrel White 2 weeks ago being a dime?
Yeah, man.
People in the comment section, man, the throws to Deuce were perfect. I mean,
the first one especially. Well, he made a couple really nice throws near the goal line too that Deuce almost got in on. One was like a third and long. That was a nice throw and a really good snatch by Deuce out of the air. Really impressive by him all around. Not just the not just the touchdowns, but that was a pretty dynamic game by. He kind of showed the whole tool bag there. But that first throw on the 83-yarder, 82-yarder, he's throwing off his back foot, kind of just slings it, like kind of falling backwards. It's not the best mechanics, obviously, but he couldn't have dropped it in there any better. Like, I get it, he was wide open. I get that a bad, even not a great throw, if he has to come back for it, it's still a huge play, and maybe he breaks a tackle and goes and scores anyway. But against better teams, and there's everybody left on your schedule besides maybe the next one, and that's close, is going to be a better team. That's the kind of throw that's indefensible no matter who's playing. Like, if you could drop it in there to your 6'6" guy like that, where he doesn't have to break stride or even slow down, and he just has to reach his arms out, it's right there. That is a thing of beauty, man. That was a really, really just a perfect throw. And they had a few of them by a few different quarterbacks. But that was really impressive. And then, yeah, I think overall it was cool to see Deuce get loose like that after only having, I think, 2 catches in the first game. That guy's an NFL player. I don't know what his draft stock is. I don't know what he's going to time at the combine. He can play, man. To be able to have that kind of speed, and then also the ability to go make a one-handed catch like that. I was really impressed again with the hands catches he made near the goal line on not easy throws as a slant guy with a big body. That's a cool target for a smaller quarterback to have. Is a 6'6" guy coming across the middle that's not afraid to go snare it and catch it. I still think the most impressive thing to me was how hard they played on defense out of the gate. Just the way they flew to the ball out of the gate was like, okay, they maybe this thing is something different, and maybe this team does have some of the right stuff where it doesn't matter who you're playing, you're going to play to the same level, and try as hard and play with the same urgency. And noon game or a 3:30 game against Alabama, like that was really impressive to me, because I think it says more about the coaching staff, the identity of the team, and how they're kind of wired. We knew they were going to win. It scored on 10 straight possessions. I mean, the last 3, I feel like there were a lot of people in the stands that could have been playing quarterback. No offense to my man Michael Grant, but you're just handing off to 6- and 7th-string running backs, and you're still mauling them and scoring points. I think what the defense looked like at the start of that game was just really, really encouraging.
How does this happen, Corey? I mean, it's
question.
A lot of these guys, maybe defense not so much though, but I think Wake Forest did not want to lose Luke Pettibone. I don't think they wanted to lose him. Obviously, we know Boston College and Tommy. I don't know how much Lane tried to hold on to Micah Pettis. I don't know how much, UCF tried to hold on to Adrian Medley, Vanderbilt onto Gunnar Hansen. I'm talking about guys on offense. I should shift it back to defense. But, how do you make it's two things, right? Like the system needs to be palatable enough for these guys to know it confidently to play at that kind of speed, right? Like you need to know what you're doing to play fast and play with confidence. But then it also has to be like a level of emotional connection, of wanting to play hard for not only the guys that you're playing beside, but like the coaching staff to believe in them so fervently so soon. It's incredible that like those two things have merged so fast for especially the defense, to your point. Yeah, man,
what a test case for the new age of college football this Florida State team is. I mean, this is crazy, folks. They are now a top 10 football team. They had 10 losses a year ago. And in 2 weeks, they've become a top 10 football team. Are they really a top 10 football team? Again, we'll know as the season goes on, as we get into October and November. But come on, man. Like this is crazy to go from 13-0 to 2-10, then right back to number 10 in the country. It kind of show obviously just what this age of college football is. But of course I'm surprised because last season was so bad, but it's not stunning that they're vastly improved, right? Like we were all expecting that. I've been preaching that for 8 months. They're going to be better, perhaps much better, because of the roster influx. But also, I wholeheartedly believed in the coaches they brought in. Like that can't be overstated. Yeah. Obviously, Luke Pettibone was a big deal. Wake didn't want to lose him. I doubt Vanderbilt wanted to lose Gunnar Hansen, and I doubt Lane wanted to lose Micah Pettis. But maybe it wasn't like I think Pettibone was one that really hurt, and I think Medley probably too. He went and followed his coaches. But I think USC would like Deuce.
Yeah, man.
And I think that on the other side of the ball, I think Memphis isn't really fired up that their best linebackers in Tallahassee now, and Houston's probably not fired up that their cornerbacks making diving interceptions in Tallahassee now. Like you went and got guys that could play, not just the guys that you hoped could play, guys that you knew could play, and it's just a really good collection. It's a 1 year now. It's 1 year with the guys I just mentioned anyway, but it's a good collection of veterans with coaches that you really believe in, and there's been a connection there. I think defensively, Tony White probably could connect with any defensive players in the country. But I still think that it's a mature group that appreciates being coached the way they're getting to be coached. So with the coaches along with the roster influx and the better players and then a dynamic quarterback, I knew they'd be better. And I knew they were going to beat East Texas A&M 9 months ago. We all knew it. This wasn't a surprise that they got a W on Saturday. It was a surprise they got a W the week before. But again, it's how it looked each week. Like they looked like literally. Did you watch? I don't know what you were doing this weekend, Aslan. I don't know if you were already on the road on Saturday night or if you stayed home and got to watch those games.
I watched the mighty Bulls of South Florida take down the flagship, and I also got to see some of that Michigan-Oklahoma game. Yeah.
But like you look around the country. Does anybody look appreciably better than Florida State? Like, who would you say right now after 2 weeks absolutely positively has played better than Florida State this year? Has been more impressive in the first 2 weeks than Florida State? I don't know if there is one. Ohio State, maybe?
Like USF has 2 wins over ranked teams.
Yeah, I didn't love their offense on Saturday. Yeah. But like both sides of the ball, but USF has the best resume so far, I think, of anybody in the country because Boise State's a real team, man. Like that's a good win, and they dominated Boise State and then win at the Swamp.
Maybe Oregon, what they did to Oklahoma State, but I mean,
there you go. That's a good one. So we'll go Oregon, Florida State, Ohio State, somewhere in that order. Maybe is like being the most impressive in my opinion so far this season. Georgia put up 4 whole touchdowns against Austin Peay. Clemson was down essentially 16-0 at half to Troy, and without an interception. A really bad, dumb interception that the Troy quarterback threw to start the second half. That game might come down to the very, very end, and they already lost the game. LSU was in a game with Louisiana Tech in the fourth quarter.
Oh, really?
I think it was like 20-7. something like that. Or I think it was 10-0 going into the fourth quarter. Like LSU had 10 whole points. Yikes. So again, I'm not saying Florida State is the best team in the country, but through 2 weeks you could convince me they're absolutely one of the best. Where did that? Yeah, so of course, like to go from last year to this year where you're talking like this, that's how impressive these 2 weeks have been. And we'll probably be talking like this for the next 2 weeks because I doubt Kent State is going to give them much of a game.
Yeah, they lost 62-14 against Texas Tech down in Lubbock.
And we're down 48-0 at halftime.
So
not great.
Well, let me bring it back to you then and ask you directly, Corey. Is this team more impressive through 2 weeks, through 2 games than the 2023 team was?
So in hindsight, probably not, because I guess I would say because we still don't know what Alabama is. We know what we now, with 2 years of hindsight, know what that LSU team was. It was I think a 10-win team and a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. So knowing that now, it's still hard to say, even though that Southern Miss game was, I know they beat the bejesus out of them there, but that was not all that impressive. It was a pretty sloppy win, I should say. They were sluggish and sloppy.
66-3, but it was a deceptive 66.
Really, no, if
right?
you could even say something like that. It got away from the Golden Eagles there late. But they saw something they liked in Tate Rodemaker. But yeah, it got away from there late. But I'll also say this, like, what's so encouraging again about these 2 weeks that I don't think we could say about maybe either one of those games. I don't remember what they did against Southern Miss rushing wise and how much of it was late when the game was already over. But Florida State's, I think they've run for 600 yards in 2 games. 600 yards in 2 games, Aslan. And you can say, you ran for 360 against big old bad East Texas A&M. Yeah, okay, well, you ran for 230 against Alabama, who just beat a Division I team 73-0. And you put up 230 rushing yards against that team. So the physicality in the way they play on the line of scrimmage, really both lines of scrimmage, I would say that might be more impressive than what we saw from 2023. But again, well, if Alabama ends up going 7-5, I don't know that I would say that it's more impressive. But I'm so encouraged by that game, man. Even though it was a laugher and it felt I don't know, man, like abusive at times. It was like they could have scored. Literally, they could have scored 91 points, and they weren't even trying to. And they became really close to becoming a villain across the country. Like, people would just see the score and go, "Oh, look at Florida State. Look at what they are now. They go 2-10. They play a cupcake and decide to put up 90 on them. Screw you, Florida State. Have some class." And it's like, man, they were playing guys that Tony White said after the game, they were playing guys that didn't get a single rep in practice all week. Nothing but scout team guys, really, for the final quarter. They just still kept scoring. But yeah, I just can't get over, man, how good how well they played in a game that they knew was a laugher. And they still came out and challenged themselves and played, for themselves, not really to the opponent.
I go to the group chat on this one, Corey, with me and a bunch of my Florida State buddies. I was like, this sport is so dumb that you can win 13, then lose 10, and go back into the title chase? Height of absurdity. But this is a landscape. We're all mostly playing by the same rules. Sure beats sucking.
Yeah.
One of my buddies says, we're 2 weeks into the season. Calm down. We just beat up on a high school team.
Yeah, that's
true,
too.
My buddies are like, dude, like, what's your problem? He's like, I'm not angry. I'm just saying I'm not going to get excited about beating some school none of us heard about before this weekend. And then my buddy Mike, Mercedes Mike, says, but you can be satisfied with the fact that we beat the piss out of them like we expected to.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I would say this, man, like, wait, let's see. We all know there are bigger tests coming. That Virginia game is not going to be a cakewalk. That's going to be a tricky game, I think.
I agree.
And then, obviously, what comes after Virginia. That might be a big one, too, Aslan. In fact, I don't think I will root harder, which probably means they're going to lose, and I apologize firstly for this. After what happened to Florida, I absolutely want Miami to beat Florida. And I absolutely, desperately want Florida State to win at Virginia because I want that stadium. I just want to feel it, man. I want to feel it that weekend, that whole week, that weekend, that Friday night before the game, the Saturday and the lot. Like, it will be the biggest game in the country, like it should be. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because that implies that Miami should be good. Like it used to be when Florida State and Miami played. And honestly, could be an awesome game. Miami might be legit, man. I know it was Bethune, but they beat the bejesus out of them. Carson Beck was like 22 out of 24, and they looked good against Notre Dame, I thought, for the most part.
I agree.
So Miami's one of the better teams in the country, perhaps. And Florida State looks like one of the better teams in the country, again, after 2 games. But I know one of them was a high school team. The other one was Alabama. It's not quite a high school team. So they've shown they can play with the big boys already. So, again, we all deserve this, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Last year was a tough sled for all of us. It was tough going to corner pocket on Friday nights. It was tough talking to people. It was tough trying to smile, and it was tough to do these shows after the games. But, man, it's just such a you almost get like giddy thinking about what that could be, what that week could be. If Florida State and Miami are both, they're already both top 10 teams. If they hang on to their spots and Florida State continues to move up, and you have like number 3 versus number 6 in a doke on a Saturday night, when Miami and Florida State, Beck and Castellanos, man, their defensive ends, Darrell Jackson, Deuce Robinson, the crazy freshmen they have, like, good grief. It gets the blood flowing. And wouldn't it be awesome to get a little revenge on Carson Beck after what he did to that poor JV team he got to play in the Orange Bowl? Is all I'm saying. It's all I'm saying.
You talk about wanting Florida to lose that game against Miami, but Canes can't look past the Bulls, man. They got South Florida coming to town this weekend.
I think it might be a little too much to ask USF. That's 3 tough games. Yeah. What a schedule. Like Boise State, then Florida, and then Miami for your first 3 games. And the fact that they've already won 2 puts them in great position. But you got to feel like, especially that Florida game, that is a tough ask, man, to go play that physical a game, that emotional a game, and then, great win, now reset and go play a better team on the road. That's gonna be hard for them to do. I think the magic might wear out a little, but that is not fluky, that team, man. Not fluky at all about that team. And I hope we all remember this next year when we're talking about teams, how you simply cannot factor in almost anything that happened the year before into the following season. You might be able to at a place like Georgia and Ohio State or Texas, maybe. But at a school like USF, especially with it's so big in the portal, and you brought in new coaches, and like to have that kind of turnaround, this is what college football is, and that is an exceptional defense. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know how talented they are. I don't know if they have any NFL players on it, but good grief, did they play hard? And kudos to Florida for spitting on the kid. I'll tell you this: he got his money's worth. I mean, that was an all-time spit.
Who spit on Fisk? Didn't Fisk get spat on? Was it a Gator that spat on Fisk?
In 23, yeah, somebody spat on him. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was Fisk. Somebody, a Florida player, definitely spit in that game.
I'm sure. I think it was Fisk that took it. Fisk was like responsible enough to not, respond in kind. I remember. Yeah. Gators, sorry guys.
Yeah, that got tricky pretty fast. Now they get LSU. They're at LSU. Then they're like at. Where are they at after that? I feel like they're at LSU. They have Texas at home, and then between that is like a tough game, like at Ole Miss or something. Yeah, they might be in trouble. Also, Lagway looked horrible. Horrible. I'm not saying he is horrible, but he looked horrible.
It's been easy to show up to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill the last few Fridays. You can come back out this Friday. There won't be a meet and greet happy hour because there's not a game this week because the Noles are off, but they're never off over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Always a great time. NFL season has resumed. Come hang out, watch your favorite team, and have happy hour drinks all day long. Trivia going down Tuesday, bingo going down Thursday nights, and then we'll resume our meet and greet the following Friday before the Kent State game, and then 2 weeks after that, a little team called Miami coming to town, and that could be possibly magical.
We're going to have to do some special stuff for that one, just like we did for Alabama, I think.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, for sure. Maybe Maybe you guys can do like a live headlines, 30 minutes of you guys up there.
Oh, there you go. I see you throwing us into it now.
Well,
you're taking I get you. You take a step aside. I got you.
Hey, man, I know my station in life. I know where the ratings lie, man. So I'll step aside happily because I'll get to hang out with everybody else that's over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Vitamin Energy. Warchant BOGO. Use that at vitaminenergy.com to buy one and get one free. Do we need to talk a little bit more about Tommy Castellanos, Corey? I saw somebody in one of the comments, either this podcast or the Warchant rap or something, maybe about I know they say we. I don't know if they directly mean you and I, because you joked, halfingly joked, last year about. Sure would have been nice if Florida State would have maybe got a guy like Tommy Castellanos to. I don't
even think I was joking that much. I think I started talking about it after that game in 23.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, he's a Florida kid. You recruited him. Yeah. You're losing Jordan Travis. Yeah. Go get him.
Yeah.
But why do that when DJ's out there?
That's true.
And Cromenhawk, who apparently now is he might be third string at Mississippi State.
They had Cam Ward, DJ Uiagalelei, Tommy Castellanos. It's like, all right, we're good. We got a really good shot here.
Yeah.
No. But, the accuracy on some of those deep shots, which, again, I know it's East Texas A&M, but if you're able to run the ball and make teams have to respect and overcompensate and put a lot of resource into stopping the run game, those moments are going to be there. I don't think there's going to be 3 of them a quarter to Deuce, but there's going to be those opportunities in every single game. And if you hit on them, you're going to change the whole entire impact of the game. But all the stuff that he talked, and I wasn't a fan of it, everything he said before the Alabama game, comes out, plays the way he does. He could have been the guy that could have been lackadaisical and it would have filtered its way down. Yeah. And I'm not giving him credit for being all business. It was everybody. It was like a team effort, obviously, to stay focused. But man, I don't know if he's going to have the numbers to get to New York City, but if this team wins and plays with the special stuff that a team ends up finding themselves with, like, where is he in the conversation? Just how impressed have you been with Tommy through 2 weeks?
Very. And look, again, I will qualify it, folks. I get it. 2 games. We'll see if we're still talking about Tommy's Heisman run in October. But if he were to continue to play like this for a team, and the team plays like this, he will have some marquee games. Like, I know maybe Florida State at Virginia isn't a marquee game, but the whole country's going to be watching. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the next weekend, the whole country will be watching, especially if they're both undefeated. Clemson, the country will be watching. And then they have another Friday night game against NC State, and then at Florida. Like, he's going to have some opportunities to really wow people if he can stay healthy. And I loved the game plan on Saturday. I know there was one play in particular where I remarked to Ira, he would have pulled that. If this was an ACC game, he pulls that. It was a run. I think he got stopped for like a 0-yard gain, and it was almost like he was under strict instructions. You do not pull the ball. He ran twice. I think there were both were on scrambles. One was definitely on a scramble, and the other one was close to the goal line. So I've been really impressed with him. I think Gus has been impressed with him. Again, I don't know. This offense is such that you're not going to need him to complete 28 passes in a game if everything's going well. So he's not going to put up huge passing numbers, I don't think, but he can hit on some huge passing plays because of the way they should be able to run the ball and the way he can run the ball. And he's not a normal kid. He's not a normal quarterback. He's really hard to tackle. He's really fast. He's really quick. He's got just a confidence about him and a aura about him that I don't think is all that normal. And I think that 2 years of playing at Boston College and being the best player on his offense, at least for a year and a half, in a real conference, and playing at the likes of Florida State and showing yourself that, yeah, man, I feel like I'm the best player on the field. I know they got the verse guy, and I know Travis is the other quarterback, and that Fitz guy seems pretty good, and their receiver might be pretty good, but I feel like I'm the best player on the field. And maybe on that day he was. And when you have those kind of games, it's not false confidence, it's real confidence. and he thinks he's the best player in the country. I legitimately think Tommy Castellanos thinks he's the best player in the country. Is he? No. But it's such a weapon.
Maybe.
But I mean, I'm talking about he's not going to be the number one pick in the draft.
Right.
But he is he could be one of the best college football players in the country. I'm not saying that. I don't think he's like the most talented necessarily. But that kind of confidence and just the way it permeates can't be overstated. It just can't be. And he has been a leader. And that's what I've been most that obviously the talent, the skill set, the running ability is very, very important. But the way he's kind of latched on to being almost the face of the team, and how important he thinks that is, and how seriously he takes that of being a leader and wanting to be everybody's friend and being a good teammate, but also getting on to guys when he wants to. In fact, I know I'm all over the place on another tangent, but there was a run that Cromall had in the first quarter where he had a hole and he didn't hit it. I think Cromall looked good at all there early. He looked better late, but he didn't start well. He's also a freshman, and he's got 10 carries to his name, so I'm not. I get what I'm saying.
Got stuffed at 4th and goal on the 1 yard line.
He did. I hated that setup too, but I hated that whole play call with him at the Wildcat. But there was a run he had there. I think they had the ball 1st and goal at the 6, and he doesn't see the hole necessarily, or he didn't hit the hole he was supposed to hit. And Tommy kind of, after Cromall got tackled, he kind of like defiantly like pointed like that's where you were supposed to go. I don't mind that either. Like you know, Cromall's going to be a big part of this offense. He needs to be coached. And he needs to be held accountable because he's going to be a big part of this team, I think. It just feels like Tommy is checking all the boxes. Great athlete, good quarterback, seems to be a really good teammate, and at least here at Florida State is a winner. And is making winning football plays. We'll see where it goes, but this has been best case scenario through 2 games with him. He got to show off his wheels when it mattered most against one of the best programs in the country for a big upset win, and then he got to show the passing ability against not one of the best teams in the country, and not have to run at all. That was good. That was good stuff, I thought. So, yeah, we maybe we aren't talking enough about him, but that's going to come. There are going to be plays. Like I could absolutely foresee a scenario where you're up, let's say, 28-24 against Virginia, and it's 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. You have a 3rd and 8 at midfield, and he spins out of 2 sacks and either throws it up to Deuce for a touchdown or runs it 36 yards to get down to the 15 or something. Like those kind of special plays that we saw Jordan Travis make in 2022. He made them all the time, but I keep coming back to this season kind of being comparable to 22. That's what I can see Tommy Castellanos doing. Like just when things aren't going well, when you're up against it, at the end of the day, you have a guy that is very, very unique back there that is going to be hard to stop when it matters. You hope, and it sure seems it's pointing in that direction.
Yeah, we're flirting with some of this stuff that, if you go back and listen to the shows from 2023, you'll hear Corey talk about what about this Tommy Castellanos guy. And, a lot of the things that I felt good about going into the 23 season and played out early on, Corey, was just like, how do you defend Florida State? Or like, how do you defend Jordan's ability to beat you with his mind, Jordan's ability to beat you with his arm and his legs? You got Johnny Wilson, you've got Keon Coleman, you've got Jaheim Bell,
Trey Benson
in the backfield.
Hey, by the way, shout out to him. He had like a 54-yard run on Sunday.
There we go. I'm just like, and especially with the way that Mike would, shift and move guys around. You're like, man, how do you stop this? Like, are you going to roll coverage over to Keon? Then that opens things up for Johnny. You're going to roll coverage over to Johnny, and there's not enough guys in the box to account for Trey Benson running. I don't know if they get the same numbers advantage because of Deuce and Squirrel and Javen Boggs, but man, just the way they're set up in the backfield, I think Gavin Sawchuk had a run, I think maybe for a touchdown where he was in Wildcat and he faked the toss.
Yes, yeah.
He faked the toss and he kept it and ran himself in. Like, that's going to come back against Miami or Clemson or NC State, where he might actually toss it, or no, he might actually keep it again. There's so many different ways that they.
Well, think about this stuff with Danzy.
Yeah,
like what scout that. Oh, hey guys, when 19 comes in motion, go ahead and start sprinting to the sideline. sprint to the sideline, because if you don't sprint at full speed before the ball is even snapped, he will be gone by the time you get there. Oh, wait, he didn't hand it off to 19. He's rolling the other way, and there's a guy running. Like, all the things you can do off of that. Lucas barely got in the game, it felt like. So we haven't talked about him, but when you have guys like Lucas, Danzy, obviously Deuce, I think Squirrel, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's just he's out a couple of games, or maybe just a game, and could be back for Virginia. Hopefully, definitely back by Miami. He did something to his left arm wrist on a dumb punt return when they were up 42-0. Not dumb that he was back there. Dumb that he fielded it and tried to run with it when it was an all-out block. They didn't get the block, so he had no blockers in front of him, and he had 6 defenders right in front of him. Just fair catch it. You weren't going to do anything with that, and the guy ends up landing on him. I think he knocked off his helmet and did something to his wrist, arm, hand area that looked serious enough for him to immediately go to the locker room and then have a cast on. So, but hopefully he's back in a few weeks. But back to the point. Yeah, man. What's cool about this offense, though, unlike that one, but yes, it is. It looks like it's setting up to be very hard to defend, because not every team has a Jalen Lucas and a Mekhi Danzy, and then Tommy Castellanos, and then the 6'6" guy. And let's not forget, one of the better players on the team, in my opinion, is probably Randy Pittman.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even there yet. So you do have some serious weaponry. I don't know if it's elite NFL weaponry like a Keon Coleman or a Trey Benson. I don't know that. I don't think these guys. We don't have a running back that we're watching right now that is proven to be what Trey Benson has proven to be yet. But what I love about this running game, what I think I'm going to love about this running game, whole lot of 3 yards to 6 yard carries. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, the one negative that I always thought about Trey was a little bit of dancing, not just hitting it and getting what you can all the time. Because he was a powerful dude, and he could fall forward for 3 or 4. Now, Cromwell got stood up a couple of times early in the game. But as that game went on, as the game against Alabama went on, and that offensive line starts leaning on dudes, and you do have big backs, man. Roydell wasn't playing, but Roydell is a big back. Cromwell is obviously a big back. Sawchuk's a pretty big back. That wears on you, and I love the 1st and 10 becomes 2nd and 5. They don't all have to be 40-yard runs. I trust that they will have that power downhill running game and then do stuff off of it. And you always have the wild card of the quarterback keeping it. I don't know how many tackles for loss teams have had against them. I know Alabama had 3 TFLs and 49 running attempts. I'm going to guess East Texas had maybe that many and 40 running. Like, they don't get tackled behind the line. They're almost always going forward.
East Texas had 5 on us.
Oh, that's too bad. I wonder how many were late. But either way, I just think with this starting offensive line, if it stays healthy, with this running game, being a power running game, like, they're not game breakers, right? Like, I don't know. Roydell, Sawchuk, and Cromwell, maybe Cromwell, we'll see. He showed some wheels when he got loose on that screen pass. I don't know if they're home run hitters, right?
What about Sam Singleton, Corey? Come on.
I don't think he's going to play. Love you, Sam. I don't think he's going to play unless there's some bad injury luck. But I don't think
like
those.
Danzy. Yeah, they're not going to flash like Danzy with like this huge home run potential every single
but
time. But
isn't that the beauty?
Yeah,
is the guys that are running up the middle are tough in their own right. They're tough to bring down. They're hard runners, and they're not slow, but they're not necessarily home run hitters. But they can get you for 12. They can get you for 7. Sawchuk can carry half of a defense into the end zone, running up the middle. And then, when you're all braced for that, here comes the flipping track star around the end that you have to go try to catch. Or the quarterback keeps it. He throws it to the 6'6" wideout. Or the really blazing fast wide receiver on the other side. There's a lot to like about this offense, especially when you consider that they have like a mad scientist as the OC who might just take to this and be a great offensive coordinator. I don't know. It's fun to think about, but I'm trying to dial it down. I'm not doing a good job of it because it was East Texas A&M. But I keep thinking about the Alabama game too. And that Danzy didn't just do it against East Texas A&M. Neither did Lucas, neither did Tommy. They did it against a real defense, too, and looked pretty darn good doing it. That offensive line, probably more importantly than anything, looked pretty darn good against those the badasses from Alabama, just like they did against the not-so-badasses from East Texas A&M.
I guess part of me wonders, could Tommy maybe not right now, but maybe at some point. I mean, listen, they got a bye week to get better, to learn. But just the familiarity that Jordan had with the Mike Norvell offense, right? I mean, he'd been here for so long. It's hard to replicate the amount of time. But the way that Gus, over the course of his career, has always been able to get guys to, maybe not have not 14 fantastic weeks, but there's always been a flash, a 2-3 weeks. And I don't think Tommy is that by any stretch. I'm just saying that I wonder if Tommy has a sort of a great feel for Gus's offense that maybe other quarterbacks wouldn't be able to have so early on, and that's why we're seeing these huge gains, this huge profit off of his acquisition to the roster so far. But again, let's see Friday night in Charlottesville. Although I don't know, they got some of the wind knocked out of them, I'm sure, against NC State and Raleigh. I think they surrendered 21 points in the fourth quarter and lost.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the Morris kid threw an interception in the end zone when they were going in to take the lead. Kind of threw it right to the guy. But look, man, they're going to be they're a real team. They're not a great team. Neither is Virginia Tech. Obviously, Wake and Stanford don't look great either. But yeah, again, it's a road game on a Friday night, a week before your rival, which could be the biggest game, which would be absolutely. That Miami game will be the biggest game that any of those players, even including all the transfers, in my opinion, have ever played in. Maybe Pettis. I just don't think Ole Miss Alabama is Florida State Miami, man. And he's one guy, but I know some guys came from big programs, but Tommy Castellanos has never played anything close to that. And the guys that are still here from 2 years ago, those guys didn't play except Omar Graham. But a Florida State Miami game where they're both top 10 and game days here and all that stuff. Kirk's dog is here. Man, can you believe? I hope we get to see more pictures of him and his dog. God love that guy. If they can handle business and not look ahead at all to that game, and they just if they can do that and not look ahead and get to that Miami game undefeated, that is such a good sign of the maturity of this team. But then now you got to go beat Miami. But the next 17 days, it's full board towards that Virginia game, and that is because the Miami game loses a little bit if you lose at Virginia the week before. That's how it works. Yeah, and I don't even mean the stadium will still be packed. It's still Florida State Miami, but you've lost a game in conference. You don't need to give those away because you're better than Virginia if you're healthy, and you should win that game. But it's a road game in the ACC, and I'm sure they'll be favored, but I don't know, man. 10 points, 12 points, it won't be as big a spread as maybe Alabama had against Florida State, perhaps. So yeah, anything can happen. I just love the mindset that these guys have played the first 2 weeks. Just again, I just said, that was the biggest game that all those guys will have played in. Last Saturday. 2 Saturdays ago now, was the biggest game any of them have played in. Tommy Castellanos never felt anything like that. You know what? He just hadn't. And so for them to bounce back from that and have a tragedy when one of their teammates is shot in the flipping back of the head and is in a hospital still, in a hospital bed, fight through that and come out and play that, have that much resolve and resilience, man, they might be made of the right stuff, dude. Maybe, but man, it's a really good start so far.
I hope you guys have had a good start so far to the moves, the plays you've been making over on Underdog Fantasy Sports. Underdog Fantasy Sports hooking you folks up when you use the promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Again, promo code WARCHANT when you download the Underdog Fantasy app today. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks and win money. Corey, we got Monday Night Football. We need some help, big dog. Justin Jefferson, higher, lower, 6.5 receptions.
Higher.
Okay. Let's pick one from the other side. We got to go with at least one of these on your pick'em entry. Has to be from the other team in these games. So you can't just do a bunch of Florida State guys. You got to do Florida State guy and somebody from Kent State, for example. Roma Dunze, Chicago Bears receiver, 49.5 yards, higher, lower.
I'm going to say lower.
Okay. All right, I might know your answer on this one then. America's quarterback, Caleb Williams, 219 passing yards or 1.5 passing touchdowns, higher or lower on either of those. Interest you, Corey?
I'll say higher. I think he can get to 2 passing yards or 2 passing touchdowns. He's definitely going to, I think, go above 2 passing yards. Is that an option?
No, I wish it was.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I'll say two passing touchdowns for
him.
him.
Then let's get some action on J.J. McCarthy. 16.5 rushing yards, higher or lower, Corey?
Higher.
All right.
Because sacks don't count in the NFL against somebody's rushing stats. And I think when you're essentially a rookie quarterback, you might not see it as well as you should early. You're not getting out of your hands maybe on time because it's your first real NFL game. You might have a tendency to pull it and run a little bit. I think he's a good enough. He is a good athlete that he can run for. I'm going to say he's going to run for 30 yards. He double that. That's free money.
All right, there you go, everybody. Justin Jefferson, higher, 6.5 receptions. Rome Odunze, lower, 49.5 receiving yards. Caleb Williams, higher, 1.5 passing touchdowns. J.J. McCarthy, higher, 16.5 rushing yards. $10 over at Underdog Fantasy would net you 114 American dollars. If you do the standard pick'em, you can do the flex where you get a little bit of forgiveness, Corey. So if you only get 3 out of the 4 right, you still would win $7.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So there's the option for the flex. The odds not as great, but you have security and safety. Underdog hooking you up. Again, Underdog Fantasy Sports. Make picks, win money.
Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Corey, you mentioned it towards the end of the last segment. And, I didn't read up a lot on the information that first happened when Ethan Pritchard was admitted to the hospital after being shot. I saw the word stable, and I'm like, okay, everything's okay. And that's far from the case. He's in critical but stable condition. And as you said, young man got shot in the head. And to hear the way that, Mike Norvell spoke about Ethan after the game, to see the video from the locker room afterwards where, Mike gave the hammer to Ethan's dad and his uncle, they both were on the sideline for the game. His dad broke the rock after the game. I think Tony White gave him an honor as the standout defensive player, the effort of the game. And, Earl Little coming out the tunnel holding the jersey. And, I mentioned in the first segment about, you've got to get the right guys, obviously, that are talented, that can understand your system. But you also need guys that are going to play motivated and not only for the guys beside themselves, but for this coaching staff. And I don't know, shame on me, shame on us for thinking that Mike totally lost all of it during last year's, downfall, if you will. But man, the way these guys are playing, I know there's that clip from, what is it, Eyes Up, they're calling it now, I guess, part of the climb, where I guess he was speaking to the team before the Alabama game and everybody's going crazy about that. But just, him being able to put into context Ethan's health, how much he means to the team, and all the guys rallying around that. And that's a head coach thing, man. That's not a drawing up thing, X and O thing. To me, that's a head coach culture thing.
Yeah, Tony White kind of said as much on Sunday. He talked a lot about how because he was asked about the fourth down stops they had, the fourth down stop they had with the scout team on the field, and how everybody went and all the starters went and celebrated with their teammates. And we also talked a lot about, or I talked a lot about on the Warchant rap. Maybe I didn't talk about it at all, but I should have. Was the Javon Boggs block on the Cromwell touchdown?
Oh, you mentioned.
Or no, on the Sawchuk touchdown. Yeah. And how more people congratulated Boggs for the block than they did Sawchuk, who scored. And I just don't think that's normal. And Gus was actually asked that on Sunday and said, yeah, he goes, well, these guys kind of care about each other. They're also smart, and they understand how important that play was, how important that block was to the play success. And so it's a team that cares about each other, and I think that's the truth. And also, it's a smart team that appreciates smart football. And when it comes back to Ethan Pritchard, man, you look, that's an image. If you see the frozen image, and FSU Football retweeted it, of his dad breaking the rock with all those guys behind him, it can kind of swell you, man. It can swell you with emotion. Not everybody's a parent, but everybody has a parent. Everybody is a son or a daughter, and you can relate to what he must be going through, what that family must be going through, and to have that release just for then, before they probably went right back to the hospital. Yeah. But for that 4 or 5 hours, they got to enjoy something and enjoy how much that team cared about their son or their family member. It's a really cool thing, and it kind of, in a weird way, maybe it gives you even a little more hope that, okay, is this going to be a special season? When you have images like that after week 2 in a game where you won by 75, like, it's emotional. The coach is emotional. The way these guys really do seem to play hard and play for each other and care about each other, even though a lot of them have been here for less than a year or 2 at most. I don't think it's normal. But we're also 2 games in, and what are they going to look like the first time they lose? Which will probably happen, guys, just because there's one undefeated team out of like 133 each year. So they probably will lose at some point. How are they going to handle that? Obviously, I didn't think Clemson handled it all that well because they were in real danger of losing to Troy. I thought Florida State handled their win really well, but they will probably at some point have to handle a loss or at least some failure in the course of a game, and we'll see how they respond and treat each other. But, yeah, man, it's all kind of special right now. It feels special. The Earl Little holding the jersey, the wearing the armbands. The way they talked about Pritchard, like Tommy and Deuce. Tommy was talking about how he's come over to the pool and hung out with them, and he's a freshman linebacker, and they're both 21, 22-year-old 4-year players in college or 3-year players in college on the different side of the ball. And they still had a relationship with him where he came over to the house. And Jerry Wilson said he's the biggest Seminole fan on the team. He grew up a Seminole. And that's all he talked about was how big a Seminole fan he was growing up. And, Norvell's like, yeah, I've only been coaching him for 8 months or 9 months, but I've known him for 3 years because they've been recruiting him. It just sounds like he's a really special kid. So, yeah, it is impactful and it's emotional. And the fact that they were willing to – and I hate to dumb it down to just make it about sports, but the fact that they kind of were either to block it out, the emotions of that out, or kind of let it, instill them with something. Because as was it Jerry Wilson or somebody that said like he'd have given anything to be playing here. So who are we not to play hard? Yeah. When he would give anything to get out of that hospital bed right now. So maybe it gives them even a little more urgency and effort. But because one of their teammates is in such a dire, bad situation in the hospital, it's maybe dire's not the right word, but it's not great. He's in a hospital bed, and he got shot in the head, and he's in critical condition. So clearly he's still in the woods, and it's a really sad, bad, awful situation, and at least they got a little respite from it on Saturday and got to break the rock, which was really cool. And again, you talked about the head coach, and I've been talking way too long. Sorry, par for the course. The way he talked about Ethan, I think he banged the table to try to get himself to stop crying.
Yeah,
Norvell did.
Yeah.
Like he was getting really, really emotional, and that is not. He is not
that was
Russell
genuine.
Crowe.
That was sincere.
This ain't Russell Crowe coaching Florida State. Yeah. It's ain't Daniel Day Norvell. This is a head football coach that cares that much about his players that he got really, really emotional talking about. I'm sure that scene in the locker room meant a lot to him, and the fact that the family was there for the game meant a lot to him, and he is absolutely still thinking about that. It will continue to think about his freshman linebacker, just like all the players on the team will.
What else was said from the coordinators on Sunday, Corey, we need to pass along to the subscribers out there?
So real quick, I thought it was really interesting. It's what I wrote about. Tony White talking about how, he was asked about how well they played. And he's like, look, we were okay. We played pretty well. But he goes, guys, we gave up 100 yards rushing. Like, that's ridiculous. And he goes, he yelled at the scout team when they didn't go try to block the field goal because he's like, we wanted one of those spiked baseballs.
Oh, hell
and so
yeah.
he was yelling at them coming off the field because they didn't try hard enough to block it. And it's like, yeah, man, talk about being made of the right stuff. The DC definitely seems to be. The OC is proving himself. Like, he's been doing it for 20 years. Tony White's still more of an unknown because he hasn't been a DC at this level as long as Gus has been calling offense. But, man, his defense plays hard. They play smart. And he seems to be made of the right stuff, too, because he's calling out guys for still not reaching their potential. He talked about, Earl Little. He's like, yeah, man, that's a great play to go break on the ball. But that's got to be a pick six. Like, it's one thing to read it, now go make a play on it. So he's got to take another step. Jerry Wilson should have kept his feet. Like, there's all these things he still could criticize and said they got wrong. And I think that's a good sign, man, because he is not satisfied with this stuff. He doesn't get satisfied, which is good because there are going to be some trying moments over the next 10 games. And it's good to have a head coach that doesn't think a defensive coordinator that doesn't think he or his unit has already arrived. And the players don't think they've arrived. So, yeah, man, it's that was interesting. Gus, I'll be honest with you, he got in about 30 minutes early. We were warned beforehand, but, we were kind of told pictures were at 5:45. So me and Ira literally walked into the museum, or the museum. Yeah. The museum with no artifacts. Correct. At 5:45, and Gus is already done with his opening statement. So it was the quickest picture in history. But we got there and heard enough. He's Gus. He wasn't all that verbose. Yeah. But he did talk about Sperry. He liked what he saw from Sperry, and said that he's not like a normal true freshman quarterback. We haven't talked about him at all, and we should.
No, I was going to. It's on the sheet. It's on the sheet.
Sorry, buddy. Yeah, so let's get into Sperry. We can talk about the coordinators later.
Yeah, so I don't know. As one of the largest investors of Brock Glenn LLC, or actually INC, if it was LLC, it wouldn't be on the market. But just, I guess, to see Sperry kind of come in ahead of Brock. I know both guys had degrees of success, but just to see Sperry come out there and operate really comfortable, he looked to me, man. Yeah. I mean, again, we'd heard these things in camp and such, but just to see it reaffirmed on a game day field, what do you take away from it?
A lot. Look, I think again, we know who he was playing, but it's still your first game in a college. It's your first college game. It's your first college game as a true freshman quarterback. It's week 2, so it's not like week 8. And he came in and looked really poised. I think what I was so encouraged by was, I think one of his biggest assets is going to be his legs, in just how the way he can make things happen with his feet, and he didn't really even use that. And I think it might be telling. It might be telling that he went in before Brock Glenn. Mm-hmm. I also wrote, and I think this is the truth. I know it's the truth. But Brock has been banged up. And Gus said as much on Sunday that, he's been dealing with things all camp. So I don't think Brock has gotten a ton of second-team reps, if any. Because I don't know that he practiced at all the first 2.5 weeks of fall camp. So Sperry was getting all the second-team reps. And when the second team finally gets to go in the game, it would only make sense that the guy that's gotten all the reps would get to go in the first with the second team. And Brock Glenn did come in that drive, and then they kind of alternated a little bit. They both, I thought, played well. But the way Norvell and Tommy talked about Sperry, the way Gus talked about Sperry, there's a chance he's the future. It's not guaranteed. But, that was a really good debut, and we're going to get to see him again in the next game, you would think. And let's see how he builds on it. Because I think, he might be something, Aslan. He might be something. Hey, Brock could still be something too. But Sperry, maybe Sperry has something to him.
If you're interested about Squirrel White's injury, check out warchant.com's tribal counsel, Matt Lasser, Irish O'Fell, with some nuggets. Give me some information on that. On the way out, Corey, I know it's been a long one here, but your Florida State Seminoles, everybody, ranked 10th in the country according to us in the media and the AP.
Crazy. It's crazy you just said that.
They're
10th in the country, Aslan.
Dude, between the shot that ESPN had of interviewing Norvell on the field in one box, and then the students and everybody rushing the field with the final score emblazoned underneath it, between that and then seeing their name, AP poll number 10, is just like, what happened? Like, it's like, if you were in a coma, right? The whole, imagine if you were in a coma for a year and you woke up and you're like, what's happened? It's like, you're like, yeah, what's the big deal? They're number 10. They're a really good team, right? It's like, brother, you don't even know what happened last year when you were sleeping.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's never a big deal for Florida State to be in the top 10. Like, I would assume over the last 40 years, they've been in the top 10 more than any other program in the country. So that's not crazy. But just so, and it's not even that it came after on the heels of last year. It came after 2 games. They went from 7 receiving votes to 10th in 2 games. That's an SEC-like rise, a meteoric rise. It's crazy. It's crazy that it's happened so quickly. Where I was thinking about it. What if? And I'm not trying to put this in the universe, but what if Virginia beat Florida State on Friday night? That for 2 whatever that is, 3 Friday nights from now. Yeah. They're going to storm the field.
Yeah, that's true.
Who would have thought Florida State would get back to that status this quickly, that they would warrant a field storming? But they're not going to get to storm the field because they're going to all leave by the end of the third quarter when they're down by 5 touchdowns. Am I right, Aslan? That's what I'm trying to put out in the universe.
Yeah, go hang out whatever, I don't know, Fifth Avenue, whatever, Hoo-Ha Avenue, wherever they hang out at. Go enjoy that. But, yeah, just
get your torches. Get your tiki torches. It's Charlottesville, right? Sorry, I'm going to keep making that joke.
But I know we mentioned kind of at the beginning of the show, but, yeah, your Florida State Seminoles, they're ranked 10th in the AP poll, 12th in the coaches. The Florida Gators are no longer ranked.
Yeah.
Just an absolute – listen, it happened to us. What was it, 2009?
Yeah.
I was there for that game.
Pretty much the end for Bobby was that game.
Yeah, so Billy Napier, I don't know how I feel about his. Again, it's everything times a flat circle, right, Corey? It's just going into 2024, you're like, yeah, Florida State hosting Florida in Doak, we got this. And then obviously you see the way the season plays out. And then I think if we did our version of W&Ls, I would have been like, man, I don't know, man. Friday night against NC State, and then you got to go to the Swamp. I don't know, probably 55-45 Gators. And then we sit here 2 weeks later, and it's like, look how things have changed. But I don't know, just if they were who they thought they were, right? Florida, like, they don't lose that game. It was like the whole game changed with 4 minutes left, and they were up by 1, I think. And they had 3rd and 4 near midfield. They ran it, and they only got 1 yard. They might have lost a yard. And then Billy Napier's like, all right, punt it. And then just nonsense ensues. They get a stop, they get the ball back. They throw on first down. The clock doesn't run.
Can I say something about that? I don't mind that call. If people can remember the last time that Florida State beat Alabama, which I guess would be the only time before this year, it was 2007. Alabama just cut it to a touchdown. I think it's 1st and 10. Everybody's expecting run because there's like 4 minutes left in the game. You're up by a touchdown. You want to milk some clock. Xavier Lee hits Dakota Fag on a little stop route on first down because it's one-on-one coverage. You're just running and stopping. It's a pitch. It's the ultimate pitch and catch, and it's kind of a safe play, or should be. And Dakota Fag breaks the tackle and goes 75 or 80 yards for the touchdown to put the game away. All they're trying to do there is get a free 8 yards. It's one-on-one coverage with the DB playing way off, and he's going to be wide open. And the throw is so bad that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't hate the call. It's just the throw was so bad. And as I was saying to Ira in the group text, is like, and Ira's point was, yeah, but he'd been off all day, which is absolutely true. Lagway was not playing a great game. So maybe don't put it in his hands then because he's not clearly on rhythm. Also, I feel like his next throw goes right through that kid's hands.
Yeah, Vernell
that was a dime that went. But yeah, go. I'm all for ripping Napier. He deserves it. He did not handle things well. I didn't. That first down play didn't. I was not all that upset. I was not mortified by that decision necessarily.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add other than the fact that I think Florida thought they were out of the wilderness.
Yes,
they are not, man. Yeah. You guys are not. Nope.
So it's and the thing is like before the game, I'm like, man, that seems like a lot of points for USF to be getting. Like Florida played Long Island, USF played a playoff team and beat them by 4 touchdowns. That's a salty group that is a good team. why is Florida such a big favorite? This is going to be a real game. And then after Florida loses to that good team, everybody's like, well, Florida's a joke. Well, it's like they might have lost to a really good team. The problem, but man, there is a chance they bow up and play well this weekend. They might go to Baton Rouge and be in a real game in the fourth quarter and have a chance to win. That would not stun me. But they're probably going to lose. And then they also have Texas later on. They have Georgia obviously later on. They have Florida State later on. It is a gauntlet. Maybe at Tennessee. They obviously they play Tennessee too at some point. Like, yeah, man, he could be done by the time that Florida State game comes around, right? Like they could be on an interim coach, but we thought that last year. They didn't start great, and then they rallied up. So I'm not ready to give up on them yet. I also don't think it's as bad a loss as maybe we're making it out to be. But
no, it is, man. From an optics standpoint, you can't lose to a directional school.
Also, well, there you go. You're calling USF a directional school. I like it. But also, like it's not the one-off. It's not just in a vacuum that you lost the one game and that's what matters. It's what's it going to do to the morale of the team, to the fan base. How are they going to respond to it? Are they going to make it is it going to be Georgia Tech 2024 all over again? Because it absolutely could be. Because by itself, losing to Georgia Tech in Ireland wasn't a horrible loss. But it spiraled the team.
Yeah, the response.
And there is a chance that it could spiral this Florida team, and they play a much tougher schedule, I think, than Florida State did last year. And also, Lagaway might be awesome, or he might be really overrated. He just. I'll be honest, man. He hasn't impressed me much at all. In a year and a half, well, whatever, it's been 14 games. He makes some incredible throws, but by and large, he didn't have a great year statistically last year, and he looked like dog doo-doo in that game. Except for the dime he threw on third down that the kid dropped.
They still do play. I mean, they still play pretty physical and aggressive. So if they get some wins, and there's he's still the head coach, I fully expect a battle royale. But yeah, man, they're at LSU, then they're at Miami, week off.
That's right. I keep forgetting they're playing at Miami. That's right.
Then they host week off after Miami. Then they host Texas. At A&M, host Mississippi State, who took out Kenny Dillingham's.
It's a tough loss for Kenny, man.
Yeah,
that's a horrible loss.
Yeah, week off, outdoor cocktail party at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, host Tennessee, host Florida State.
That's like 9 ranked teams you ripped off.
That's brutal.
I mean, yeah, they could actually get it together and play pretty darn well and lose 5 games.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then you're like, are you going to keep bringing this guy back because he's just pretty good? It's going to be it'll be interesting to see where that thing goes. And if he does get 5, I'm just saying, like, by itself, losing to USF isn't a coach killer. It's not a season ender. I just don't have any faith that they'll respond, and then that's when it becomes a season ender.
Yeah,
because they're going to go into Baton Rouge with zero confidence. But they are a tough physical team, man. They have a chance to maybe get it right, or they could give up and quit, and that's definitely on the table. And then they might actually go get themselves a real coach.
Yeah, dude, they got It's going to be number 3 LSU, number 5 Miami, number 7 Texas, number 16 Texas A&M. That's their next 4 games.
Yeah. I know, man.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's not great. That's why you needed to kind of win that game.
Yeah, they are 9.5-point underdogs. Miami is a 16.5-point favorite against USF. No respect for the Bulls.
Yeah, man. I just think that might be where USF just might be out of gas, and that's 3 straight really physical games. They're not quite an FCS type school. Like they're not a big Big Ten big boy school. They might not have the depth to be able to go at that for. I mean, what a tough stretch that is for them. But yeah, nobody's crying that Florida might not be good, and they might be hiring like their 8th coach in 25 years. I mean, it's just Urban was good for when he was there, and then it was like, man, nothing since has been worth holding on to. I guess.
Yeah, Muschamp, McElwain, Mullen, Napier. Yeah, it just hasn't been great.
So you ask yourself, let's say Florida State does finish 9-3 this year. You feel like you got the guy at head coach? How much has that shifted in 2 games?
Yeah, man.
The Norvell thing again. Like, it's just the ebb and flow is so wild and understandably wild because of what happened in between 2023 and now being ranked 10th in the country. It's just, I never completely lost faith in Norvell. I was curious as to how he could put together a team like he just put together, but man, this has been a great turnaround for him, and let's hope that it keeps going, and maybe he wins the Bear Bryant Award again.
Ooh, that's what I like.
You go Bear Bryant should be fired. Bear Bryant back years.
Oh,
what
man.
a life.
Speaking of Mike, we're not going to get him today on Monday because they don't have a game this week. But we will have interviews Tuesday and Wednesday, I think. I don't know, Corey. I wasn't in the room. I'm sure they said
Tuesday
that.
and Wednesday, and we get Norvell each of those days.
Okay, cool. So I'll be in town for those. And we'll do a show for you folks, though, for tomorrow. We're going to do the mailbag, quote-unquote, Monday. We recorded on Monday, and it's for Tuesday. You know.
Hey, I want to give a shout-out real quick, Aslan. I didn't know if you wanted to shout out anybody at Corner Pocket.
Yeah.
By the way,
Todd, I met a Todd, Todd who's a lifelong Florida State guy, like 86 alum. Tom from Harrisburg, and Mekhi Danzy's cousin, whose name I never got, but we spoke for like 50 minutes. He looks like my guy Dub C from West Side Connection, Ice Cube and Trey D, and my guy Dub C with the braided beard.
He's there a lot. He's a Corner Pocket regular, so as you can imagine, Corey Clark sees him quite a bit. It's funny though when we go to these things, especially me, only because I'm there longer than you. That's not a shot. I mean, that's my place. I'm there all the time, but I'll go there to these things, Aslan, and
these things being the meet and
the
greets?
Corner Pocket things on Friday night.
Yeah.
And like I know, some people are there because they know we'll be there. Mm-hmm. And they want to say hello, but some people are there just because they're Florida State fans and they're in town and they want to go get a good meal and watch some football. So I never want to go up to a table and just presume they're there they would even know who I am. But I saw this. I walked by this table. It was a mom and a dad and two kids, and I'm like, I swear they kind of looked at me like they knew me, like they kind of did like a head tilt to each other. And so I was going to the bathroom. I came back, and I told the guy I was sitting with. Well, I told James B. eventually, but I told Bradley before that. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go walk by that table again. Can you tell me if they turn and look or start talking when I walk by? Which is a weird thing to ask.
It's like high school and like a
yes.
crush.
Yeah, and Bradley's like, what? I'm like, just do it, Bradley. Quit asking questions. So I do it, or no, I get sidetracked and don't even go. And then 30 minutes later, I'm like, man, I swear they might have wanted to talk to me. So I asked James B. So I go to the bathroom again. I'm like, hey, man, watch that family and see if they do anything, like look at me or anything. And no, nothing. I go back. James B. reports, no, they didn't look at you. I'm like, all right. So I'm standing by the ATM as people are walking out, by the dartboard with our friends. And the same family walks out. The dad kind of gives me a head nod, and I give him a head nod, and I go about my day. And then I go to the bathroom, and I come back, and lo and behold, Stephanie goes, hey, there's a family here that wants to meet you and take a picture with you. And it was that family. And the whole time, I'm like, and I told them that story. I'm like, I felt like such a creep because I can't go up to a table and be like, hey, how you doing? How's everybody going? How's everybody doing? Like they might think I'm a manager. And be like, yeah, can you get me some more Diet Coke? So I didn't want to, I can't presume that people are there and know who I am because that would make me look ridiculous. But also he said his name is Daniel. He's like, I feel like y'all get bombarded a lot and I didn't want to bother you. And I'm like, but Daniel, that's why we're here.
Yeah, man, it's a meet and greet.
Bombard me, especially because you're not a weirdo. No, hey, no offense to all the weirdos out there. But anyway, so I got the names. It's Daniel and Cassie are the mom and the dad, and then Gabriel and Layla are the son and daughter. And I took a picture with them. They were very, very sweet. Gabriel had a huge bruise on his arm because he just made a tackle in his first tackle football game. And, I mean, it was a big boy bruise. Nice. So, yeah, that was really fun. I know that was a long story, but it can be weird sometimes when you're sort of known. And, again, guys, I know I'm not Russell Crowe. And I'm going to just keep using his name. I don't care.
Did you just watch Master and Commander the other night or something, buddy?
Yeah, I watched L.A. Confidential, which I still think is his best movie. But yeah, I know I'm not a huge star, but in a certain setting, people do know who I am, and so I I know some people are there to talk to me or say something to me or just be very, very nice to me. That's always what you do. But I don't want to presume that everybody there knows who I am. So, but if you're there, if you come to Corner Pocket, come up and say hello. That's all we're saying. Like Daniel and Cassie eventually, she said they got outside, and they're like, guys, we got to go back in. Let's go back in and take a picture with Corey. Let's go back in and take a picture with Corey. And they did, and their lives are forever changed.
Speaking of football, do we know how Jeff's boy did on Friday night?
We know they won big, and he had a 50-yard touchdown catch.
Nice.
Bryce Cameron in the house.
Hell yeah.
It showed the wheels too. It was just a bubble screen now.
Okay.
It's a bubble screen. He little dodging and darting and just sped through the defense. He's got the Cameron wheels, man.
All right,
Jeff
man.
was on a 4x1 track team in high school.
So one group of Lions showed up this weekend in Tallahassee.
Yeah, not East Texas A&M, sadly.
All right, mailbag show, Renegade Express, generating discussion, sparked by Cummins. Get involved over on the Tribal Council, warchant.com. I assume we're going to probably see a 3-2-1 from Irish OFL, which we usually see on Mondays after Florida State games. Corey's got a column up and a summary of what happened with the coordinators, so go check up on that. Matt Lasser got you covered on the recruiting front with Michael Langston. On the Jeff Cameron show, I know they're going to have a montage for this one, everybody, but I'm sure they're going to have a lot of good things to say.
That would be awesome if they did.
Check out Jeff and Tom starting at 1 o'clock on Warchant TV and 93.3 FM in Tallahassee Terrestrial Radio. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo.